quarterbacks, man. We have three quarterbacks we're going to talk about right off the start. The biggest one, we have to talk about it. We have to because it's our brand. It's
when I woke up this morning, I was feeling pretty dangerous.
Baker Mayfield staying in Tampa Bay, of course. I saw this coming after the amazing run he had going into the playoffs. We did rebuttal our conversation of he shouldn't be a starting quarterback, and he actually earned it because of me. Strictly because of me. No, seriously.
Because of the show. I mean, honestly, it's because of the show. Because immediately, as soon as we started trashing Baker Mayfield, he blew up. He literally started performing so well. They made the playoffs. They got to the.
It was ridiculous. It was the most ridiculous, asinine, ludicrous thing of all time. But congratulations, Baker Mayfield. This is huge for the Buccaneers. This is the first time I can remember they re-signed a starting quarterback in my lifetime. Every starting quarterback they've had. Think about it. No one's ever re-signed. Nobody. Even Tom Brady. He retired and came back, didn't re-sign. Jameis never re-signed. Josh Freeman never re-signed. Not one quarterback has ever been extended or re-signed in Tampa Bay in my lifetime that I can remember. Not even Brad Johnson, who won a Super Bowl. Definitely not Trent Dilfer. Look it up, man. It's a big talking point here in Tampa Bay.
No, I mean, that's true because I was trying to think of, recent quarterbacks, and even your two Super Bowl winning quarterbacks didn't re-sign. So,
no. The first one that's ever been extended or re-signed. So good on the Baker Mayfield and the Buccaneers. We're going to talk about Mike Evans staying in Tampa Bay pretty soon. He's still got Chris Godwin. They did lose their offensive coordinator here in Tampa Bay, so that is a little bit worrisome. He went to Carolina as the head coach there. I called that. You're welcome. But Baker Mayfield's good times. For fantasy purposes, we have a lot of quarterbacks coming back from injuries. We have a lot of quarterbacks being drafted. I don't know if Baker's going to finish top 10 again. I don't know if that's possible because of all the talent to quarterback coming back from injury. The Joe Burrows, the Justin Herberts, the Anthony Richardsons. There's so many quarterbacks that are going to elevate up into that top 12 spot where I don't know if Baker is going to remain up there. But he will be a solid flex quarterback, super flex leagues.
Yeah, I mean, he's got Mike Evans back. Chris Godwin's still there, right?
Mm-hmm. He's still there.
That's pretty much, I mean, there's no real big differences. So I expect Baker to do the same thing over again. You talked about it. Probably not going to finish QB top 10. I mean, this says QB 21 points per game, but he's definitely not going to finish top 10 overall in the league. I mean, we're not going to have 14 starting quarterbacks injured again this year. Hopefully, knock on wood. So that pushes them into the 20s, in my opinion. So.
Yeah, I mean, expected. I mean, I hope great things for Baker. I mean, when I came on the show last year and said that he wasn't going to be a starting quarterback, I didn't expect all the hate. I didn't expect every single person to come at me and call me an idiot, but it is what it is. And hey, Zach, what's going on? Enough with the Love is Blind stuff in this conversation. Right?
So both of these people are in my DM group. So I just told them to come and watch because they can't watch Love is Blind right now. So
I don't know who. I hope. I love Zach. I actually love Hope as well. We played in Scott Fish Bowl and we're in the chat together. But I don't know what this Love is Blind thing. It's taken over my life. It came in my work meetings and now it's coming in my fantasy show. I don't know is it on Netflix?
Yes, it's on Netflix.
I don't have Netflix. I will have Netflix soon, but I don't have Netflix.
Am I the only person of Love is Blind? You just got to binge it. Am I the only person
that does not have Netflix? Comment in the chat.
No, you're not actually. So okay. I do know others that don't have Netflix.
Because when I told someone to sign up for Amazon or, hey, you get a discount for Amazon Prime, like, I don't have it. Like, you must be the only person that don't have Amazon Prime. I felt like I was the only person that didn't have Netflix.
We only have Netflix for trash TV shows like Love is Blind and documentaries.
Respect it. I'm more of an HBO Max kind of guy, and I don't watch it. I just watch YouTube. You know what I've been watching? This is totally off topic. Pokemon Go YouTube videos.
Oh my God.
Literally nonstop. Nonstop. It's been out of control, people. I'm out of control.
All right. Next quarterback. Let's go.
Speaking out of control, Mr. Dangerous himself, Mr. Russell Wilson is going to Pittsburgh. I think this is good. I thought this was I had a whole speech. This is going to be great for Deontay Johnson. Deontay Johnson is going to elevate into this top 12 receiver that I've always wanted him to be. He's going to be a PPR machine. Deontay Johnson to the moon. And then all of a sudden, Deontay Johnson was dealt to Carolina.
So Deontay Johnson for Deontay Jackson. That's not confusing at all. That was a really tough tweet to read this morning at 5:30 in the morning.
I'm glad that you were my buffer between Twitter and news because You texted me every signing. I'm like, cool. I can stay off
Not
Twitter
every.
for today.
I eventually stopped because I was like, okay, only big ones Josh will get to know about. But
Yes.
yeah.
Oh, thank you for so much for gatekeeping what I can see. I really appreciate it, Justin. But Russell Wilson does go to Pittsburgh, replacing Kenny Pickett. Thankfully, I didn't think Kenny Pickett was all that hot. I know he had some
Well,
supporters, and he might. Hold on. Go ahead. Tell me what you're gonna say.
we think he's going to be the starter. We're not going to know
uh,
until the week 1. I mean,
uh,
maybe Russ comes in and Kenny Pickett's like, oh crap, I actually have to compete now because I'm not going to get Mason Rudolph. Maybe Kenny does better, but yeah, the assumption is Russell Wilson will be starting this year on a league, a veteran minimum contract. He's getting paid what 1.5 million from the Steelers organization and like 30 from the Broncos organization. So it's not a bad gig.
I'll take the league minimum. One year, I'd be set for life. I would
Yeah,
figure it out. I
for
would
real.
figure it out.
Yeah.
But all right. Russell Wilson wasn't as bad as everyone wants to talk about. Like, he was actually pretty solid. He made those receivers somewhat relevant. Now, I understand you can't make Jerry Jeudy relevant. I understand that. Jerry Judy's not even on our rundown list today because that's how irrelevant he is to me. And I've been saying this since day one, and I apologize. But Cortland Sutton actually looked pretty good last year with Russell Wilson. The problem with Russ is he just wasn't what he was in Seattle. Now, let me ask you a question. If Russell Wilson wasn't what he was in Seattle and he went to Denver and stunk it up as he did, would we be so down on him? Or is it because of the contract, because of the whole everything around him, Mr. Unlimited, everything around Russell? Is he just getting hated on so much because of everything he did outside of football? The Marshawn Lynch comment saying, like, I didn't know that guy's number. He was just a coworker to me. Like, I think the stigma of him outside of football got into football, and then we hate on him because of this.
Yeah, I think it's the comments off the field. I mean, if he wasn't a quarterback, this would be huge. Like, this would be a lot bigger than it would be if he was a wide receiver. You'd be looking at him like, what are you talking about? Like, you can't trash another teammate like that. But it's Russell Wilson, so it's apparently different, I guess. To be honest with you, even before he got to Denver, I didn't think Russell Wilson was as great as everybody perceived him to be. I don't think he's going to be as great as he will as everybody perceives him to be in Pittsburgh either. He was one of those quarterbacks that got drafted by a team that was a quarterback away, and insert that quarterback and you've got all of these weapons, and now you win a Super Bowl. I would still temper expectations for Russell Wilson in Pittsburgh. Yeah, he still finished as QB 16 for points per game last year on the Denver Broncos, but
Okay.
yeah, you got George Pickens now, and that's it.
Are his weapons better than what they were in Denver?
He has a wide receiver now, so
it's an upgrade at the wide receiver position. It's an upgrade at the tight end position. It's an upgrade at the coaching position, big time, in my opinion. It's an upgrade at the running back position, in my opinion.
Is that defense better to really help them out, though?
I will say this. You take Mike Tomlin and insert any veteran quarterback like a Russell Wilson, like someone in that stature, I will take that all day over what Sean Payton's doing over in Denver.
Yeah, that's fair. They're definitely going to finish over 500. I mean, that's just
now. This is obviously a fantasy show. George Pickens showed flashes. He could be amazing. We know this. They lost Deontay. That's big, but they still have Pat Freiermuth. They still have Jaylen Warren who can catch passes out of the backfield. I think that these players will elevate Russell Wilson, and he's going to surprise a lot of people. I'm not saying he's going to finish top 12. I could see a Baker Mayfield type year coming out of Russell Wilson. I can see this.
Well, we're also in a draft where there's like 20 first round wide receivers. So you can get another weapon in the draft in the second round even. So I could see this being I don't want to get my hopes up on Russell Wilson because I don't think he's that great. But I think if you give him another wide receiver weapon in the rookie draft, you do something else in this free agency period. There's not a ton left, but there are some veterans out there still. He could have a good season. I think it's going to be in the middle. If you got a super flex, you start him. If you're one quarterback league, he wouldn't be my starter.
No, but we said the same thing about Baker last year. We said the same thing.
14 injured quarterbacks, man.
I know we keep on bringing them up, but still, I understand. All right, next quarterback on the list, and someone I wish we could talk about with Dirtbag Dave, Kirk Cousins to Atlanta. This is the biggest one, obviously. We
This
know
is.
this. It's massive. This is just huge. And I just before I logged on, before I started this stream with you, I did see Cam Newton was talking like, who's your agent? Well, talking trash. That's what Cam does these days. Fine. Dude, Kirk Cousins has been in a solid, very top tier quarterback for a very long time in Minnesota. Minnesota fans are going to hate to see. They've been wanting him to go, but now he's actually gone and he's in a better place. Not a better place, but he's in a place where they want him. Kyle Pitts is going to be elevated. Drake London's going to be elevated. I can't wait to see this offense. I can't wait to see Bijan with a competent quarterback. I'm just excited for big things. And I picked Atlanta to win the division last year. Now they are just beyond everyone in that division. I think the Atlanta Falcons are the best team in that division. Kirk Cousins makes them that way. And we could see a Kyle Pitts breakout that we've all been wanting for so long. And it can finally happen. We saw what happened with TJ Hawkinson. He was like up and down with Detroit, up and down, right? Ebbs and flows, 40-point game, 5-point game, 32-point game, 1-point game. All of a sudden he goes to Minnesota. He's the best tight end in the world. He's the best tight end in the world.
Is Kyle Pitts a top 3 tight end finally? Like actually a real top 3 tight end in the league right now?
I don't know. I have a trade offer in my inbox before Kirk Cousins was signed. And it's in your league where you commish. He wants to give me TJ Hawkinson and I have to give up Kyle Pitts in 205. I almost snap accepted that because I'm like, it's TJ Hawkinson. But all of a sudden, Kirk Cousins goes to Atlanta. I'm thinking, I don't know, man. I still believe in Pitts. I'm not going to give him up. I'm never going to give him up. He had 1,000 yards his rookie season. 1,000. Now, we can't really knock him on last year, the year before, because he was hurt the year before. Last year, we don't need to talk about Arthur Smith. We know what happened. Now we have a new coaching staff. We have a new quarterback. We have a new offensive system. Guys, I'm not saying I'm putting Kyle Pitts in my top 3, but he's going to be in my top 3 just because I'm a psychopath. But I still believe. You don't have to, Justin. You don't have to, Dirtbag Dave. I see you in there. You don't have to for all the people watching, but I will. And I'll be pounding the table for Kyle Pitts all offseason. If you watch the show weekly, you're going to hear it weekly. I'm sorry. Not sorry.
I mean, this is great news for Kyle Pitts. This is great news for Bijan Robinson. This is great news for Drake London. All 3 of those guys, we all think of highly. We all think they're playmakers. We think they're great. This last season was kind of it for me on Kyle Pitts, but now I might have to like rewind that back a little bit and actually get on the Kyle Pitts train. Unfortunately, I only had him on one team last year, and it was a redraft. So won't be able to get him in Dynasty anymore. So he should be a top priority target this year with Kirk Cousins. I mean, it's all you can say. They're going to be lethal.
Are you going to be drafting Kirk Cousins as a top 10 quarterback going into the season?
All those things we just said, this is the tough part. He is coming off an Achilles tear.
Mm-hmm.
So he should be fine for week 1, but he is 30 years old, right? 30. He's 30 something years. He's in his 30s and he is.
Hey, I'm 38, but I'm in my 30s, right? I can still say I'm in my 30s. I'm 38.
That's true. I guess 30 and 38 are 2 different things.
He's 35 and a half.
35 and a half.
Yeah. That's
when
my back started hurting.
We thought Tom Brady was going to be awful. We thought Aaron Rodgers would be awful at this age. I don't hate it. He's got the weapons. That's a thing. I would really have to dig into rankings a little bit more before I can just say, yeah, he's a top 10, but he is definitely going to be a starting quarterback in the league this in fantasy.
Well, if you look at you say he has weapons, but if you actually look at the weapons from Minnesota to Atlanta, you're going from Justin Jefferson, who's the best receiver in the world. Don't give me your Jamar Chase nonsense. It's just Justin Jefferson, slightly ahead of Tyreek Hill. And then you have TJ Hawkinson, who is on paper and on the field and has proven it. TJ Hawkinson's better than, not the best. That's Kelsey still.
He's top 5.
But yes, but TJ Hawkinson was better than Kyle Pitts at the position. So we are going from Justin Jefferson to Drake London, which is a downgrade, and TJ Hawkinson to Kyle Pitts, which on paper is a downgrade. Running back position, Bijan Robinson, catch out of the backfield. You can use him anywhere. That's an upgrade to me. He had Alexander Madison last year, Ty Chandler, a bunch of bombs, a bunch of scrubs you didn't want to start, you didn't want to play. Now he's going to a system where he's going to have a massive advantage at the running back position. So really curious to see how that plays out. If he's going to target Bijan, if they're going to scheme him into what are you doing that for?
Sorry, I've got NFL Network. Like,
Oh,
right
I thought you
there.
were watching like a Love Is Blind
The
pregame
breaking
show.
news. No,
Like Kathy Kelly. Oh my God! Like Jennifer's going to go ahead and
no, they just had a mock draft, and I didn't like who they had for the Colts.
okay.
So
All right, I got you. I
my
got
bad.
you. So Kirk Cousins to Atlanta, big things. Probably the biggest news of all the offseason, I think.